The transformation of rough country into a modern highway is a 20th century miracle. These bands of concrete wind their way over the surface of our great country. Let's see the tremendous amount of work that goes into their construction. In this road building project, 500 men of many crafts were working at the same time on different parts of the work. Each part of a road building project is managed by highly trained men. These men are studying the blueprint for a bridge. Plans are consulted frequently for each piece of construction work. These plans will help them to figure out the exact measurements and the best way to build the parts for a bridge. Here they are making a model of a span for a bridge. Now, the first step in making a bridge or a retaining wall is to erect a form of wood for the concrete. These carpenters are making sections of the forms for a retaining wall. They can be built more easily on the ground and later assembled high above ground. Many carpenters are required on a large project and may have steady work for many months on a single construction job. Now the men are putting the forms in place at the top of a retaining wall. They must be fitted together with close joints to prevent the concrete from leaking out. When the form is in place, a hose cleans out the chips and shavings. The smoother the forms, the smoother the finished concrete will be. This large retaining wall at the side of an underpass is ready for the concrete work. Each compartment of the truck contains the right amount of gravel and sand for one batch. The concrete for this wall will contain 1 part cement, 2 parts sand, and 3 parts graded rock. And up the batch goes in the machine mixer to be made into concrete in 90 seconds. Now the concrete pours out into a bucket that holds 1 cubic yard. The crane easily lifts the heavy bucket to the top of the retaining wall where the concrete is poured into the high frame. Teamwork is required at all times. The concrete is poured in 3-foot layers from the bottom to the top of the wall. This work is done by skilled and semi-skilled cement workers. Before the concrete sets, an electric vibrator is used to compact the concrete into a solid mass. Yes, riding the bucket looks risky, but it's quick and makes the work much easier. Many trips are required to fill the large wall. A finisher smooths off the top with a trowel. Later, the wooden forms will be removed, leaving a white concrete wall. Inspectors watch the work to see that everything is built according to the plans. The reflection of the sun in the mirror enables the inspector to see in the darkest corner. When the sun is not shining, he uses a flashlight. He is checking to be sure all the fastenings on the forms are secure. If the form should burst out and spoil the shape of the wall, the concrete would all have to be pulled out and the forms rebuilt. This would be costly. When the forms have been removed, the concrete wall stands strong and firm, ready to be cleaned and smoothed. Electricians erect the lampposts along the lower roadway and also along the road on the top of the retaining wall. A roll of burlap protects the post from the cable ropes as it is being hoisted. When the lamp post is in position, the cable is removed, then it's down the boom. The base of the lamp post is bolted into the foundation and cemented into place. Men pull the wires through the post and put a transformer in each pole to bring the electric current down to the proper voltage for the lamp. At the end of the wall is a huge underpass where steel workers are putting in place the steel reinforcing bars. Carrying these bars is heavy work, as each bar is 70 feet long and weighs 450 pounds. It takes strong men to carry these single steel bars. Most of these men are experienced steel workers. Overseers and inspectors see that the steel bars are placed the proper distance from the forms. Now, these bars are being placed unusually close together, which shows that this bridge is being built to carry heavy loads. The steel carries the load and is held in place by the concrete. Yes, indeed. These men are getting their iron. At the other side of the underpass, a pile driver is driving the piles into place for the false structure on which the concrete bridge will be built. This man is adjusting the huge hammer which will pound the pole into place. The cranes lift up the heavy hammer which falls on the pole and drives it into the ground until it is firm enough to carry a 20-ton load. Engineers can measure accurately the resistance of a pole to a definite weight. The operator of the pile driver operates his machine skillfully. In another part of this road building project, concrete workers are making curbs and gutters. Here, a concrete mixer on a truck, called a transit mix, is pouring concrete into the wooden forms. A combination curb and gutter is made at one time. Men smooth out the concrete and tamp it down. When the concrete is hard enough, the forms are removed. Next, men smooth the face of the curb and finish it off. Say, what's up? A crane over. Perhaps the swing of the bucket was too fast. Anybody hurt? Oh, too bad. Tom Clark, an expert crane driver. The men hurry to help him. They rush him to a hospital where he will receive first aid immediately. But the work must go on. Our crane is pulled into place and mechanics repair the damage. But let's return to our road. The curbs and gutters are in place. The ground is graded to a definite level to leave the required space for the concrete. When it has been smoothed and sprinkled, it is ready for the concrete. Then our mixer comes into action again. This time, a bucket runs out on a boom and pours the concrete on the grade. The spreaders who smooth out the concrete must be strong men, as this is heavy work. The next step, a mechanical spreader smooths and tamps it down. The second trip of the spreader finds the concrete much more level. When this machine has tamped it down fairly evenly, the finishing machine takes over the work. These machines have a system of rollers and trowels to smooth off the concrete. Many different types of machines are used in a road building project. These men are filling in the section joints with tar. Spaces are left to allow the concrete to expand in hot weather and to contract in the cold, thus preventing a break in the slab of concrete. Parts of the road are finished. The bridge, whose spans we saw on the blueprint in the beginning of our picture, is open to traffic. This highway will take its place among the great ones of the United States. The famous Columbia River Highway now seems a remarkable example of man's skill, taking us over mountains with fairyland views of the beautiful river. And now from famous George Washington Bridge over the Hudson River in New York City, we glimpse one of the most modern and most complicated highway intersections in the world. A square acre of cement was used in the construction of this bridge. Cars travel so swiftly from the center of the city to the outskirts that it is almost like being carried on a magic carpet. Truly a 20th century miracle.